Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show said, "I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a 1-year deal. The Steelers didn't need to put any extra years on that or anything. So this really is about finishing with a lot of love and fun and peace for the career that I've had. I mean, I've played 20 freaking years." So while not officially declaring it his retirement tour, Aaron Rodgers has alluded that this 2025 season will be his retirement tour. It's, again, 41 years old, Aaron Rodgers. That's longer than all the guys that he's basically been with. Peyton was 39, Eli 38, Roethlisberger 39, Rivers 39. 41's old for a quarterback. And I know that the initial reaction that people are going to have is the more you read about what Aaron's saying, he's talking about, wanting to disappear from the public light and he just wants to enjoy the year. And at first glance, I understand that people are going to look at that and say, does he even really care? Like, is he just doing this because he likes football and wants to ride off into the sunset? And I think that was originally what I was thinking about saying. But I think that's a little unfair to Aaron, who is, Hall of Fame quarterback, has played 21 years. If he wanted to hang it up, he can hang it up.
I think it seems like he's doing the Steelers a favor in his eyes.
You think so?
I mean, that's when you've got a guy sitting back saying, I don't need this. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I got no chip on my shoulder. I don't want attention. I'm going to be comfortable and satisfied with whatever happens. I mean, you compare that to when Tom Brady went to the Bucs. Right?
Yep.
This is a guy with 6 Super Bowls, 6 times the number of Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers. And he said the main thing that drove him was he was pissed off that not every single team in the NFL wanted it. He was pissed off that everyone was saying it was all Belichick. Even though he had 6 Super Bowl rings, he still felt like he had something to prove.
But that's what makes Tom Brady Brady.
Veteran free agent quarterback saying, I got nothing to prove. I'll have a good time for a year and move on.
I mean, I also get it. He's 41 years old, but that's just Aaron Rodgers. You take with a grain of salt what he's saying because of who he is. But when he steps onto the field in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, of course he's going to want to win. It's that competitive nature, that competitive fire. I have no worry about that. It's also the McAfee show, so I mean, the way it came off at first to me was how, I know he's close to Mike Tomlin and he's doing the Steelers. Here's this 4-time MVP quarterback, Super Bowl champ. Let me do these guys a favor.
Who did, because they need a quarterback?
Yes, that's how I initially viewed it.
I think it's just, like you said, this is how Aaron Rodgers behaves. Ideally, everyone talks like Tom Brady. Everybody has that J.J. McCarthy, Tom Brady mentality. You had to just slip that in there. But that's not Aaron Rodgers. And maybe I've been fooled. I may have been fooled. Because I'm thinking about things like the documentary and then just the work ethic that Rodgers seems to have. He did come back very quickly from that Achilles injury. And it's not like Aaron Rodgers just sat around and recovered, but the way that he presents himself is just so poor in terms of getting people to actually root for him, because everyone sees these comments and they go, oh, he doesn't want to be there. Like, he's already dreaming of retirement, or yes, he just wants to ride off into the sunset. And to a degree, there's a degree of understanding that because he's 41, but it's also, you want your quarterback to have fire. You want Rodgers to come out here and saying like, yeah, the last 2 years were horrendous. Like, this is for me personal. I want to come out here and dominate. And that's just not what he's ever been like. Other than, even think about it. Remember when they drafted Jordan Love? Rodgers came out. I saw someone the other day saying that Rodgers didn't respond well to like the Jordan Love, and he came back and won 2 MVPs. Like, this guy has fires lit. And I just don't think he's very good at saying it publicly, / I don't think he wants to say it publicly. So I take it, like you said, with a grain of salt. But if it is his farewell tour, I mean, I am going to miss having Rodgers in the league.
I mean, I also think a small part of it might just want to do his best to turn Will Howard into a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. He seems like he wants to help coach up Will.
That's his little project, to coach him up
if
for a
he
year.
does that, then people are going to remember 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks came out of the Aaron Rodgers troop.
Yeah,
that might be going through his head.
Jordan Love.
Oh, Love. Okay. I thought you were talking about Jet. I was like, what, Zach Wilson having a rebound or something? So, Ziggy, you looked a little skeptical while I was saying all that. You think I'm just being too nice?
Aaron, I really think that as a person and as a player, Aaron Rodgers has just changed over the years. There is no doubt to me that after the Packers drafted Jordan Love, and even earlier in his career, Like Aaron Rodgers, he certainly got a huge chip on his shoulder sitting under Brett Favre for 3 years. He got a huge chip on his shoulder when he won a Super Bowl and wasn't getting enough respect. He got a huge chip on his shoulder when they drafted Jordan Love and said, you're washed up. I really think this time is different. I think that Aaron Rodgers has really enjoyed his time with the media, even though he says when he retires, no one's ever going to hear from him again. Does anybody believe that? Does anybody think when Aaron Rodgers retires, he's going to ride off into the sunset and go like Victor Wembanyama and become a Shaolin monk?
Did you see that?
No, there's a legitimate chance he might just disappear.
I actually think he might. And then his relationship and his marriage now makes me think that might be on the table.
He's not married. I don't believe it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could say he's not married, but he's like he has a ring. He says he's married,
there's no legal filings. Like this is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't speak English. He speaks a foreign language that sounds a lot like English. Not getting into it. Like you saw with the inoculation thing. You saw, I think, with this marriage thing, there have been no legal filings in any state.
Doesn't this sound like the kind of person who would just disappear?
Maybe,
but this doesn't. So maybe he would just disappear. Here's what it does not sound like. This does not sound like a guy who's going to come in, transform your locker room, and play great football.
That's fair.
It sounds like my uncle who insists he was abducted by aliens when he was a teenager. Maybe he was. I'm not even going to say the story is false. What I am going to say is that I'm not sure that's a person who's going to lead an NFL team.
Does your uncle actually claim that?
Yeah. Lots of people were abducted by aliens in Livermore. There's a huge nuclear facility right there. The Lawrence Livermore lab. Sam Pasman worked there.
There's a whole other conversation we could. We'll stay on Rodgers. That could easily be derailed.
I can go to the conspiracy theories all day.
Why are you an alien believer?
I believe in aliens. Yeah,
but like an alien, I mean like UFOs on Earth. Like
I also think midget people are in the center of the Earth, living there.
Okay,
no, you don't.
All right.
Okay,
what's that? Agartha, right? Is that what's called?
Aaron Rodgers does believe that. That is the thing Aaron Rodgers believes.
I mean, again, it sounds like the kind of person who would just disappear.
Him and I, two Pittsburgh Steelers, two great quarterbacks.
But
makes
listen,
sense.
The long story short on this is, do I think the fire in Aaron Rodgers is there like it used to be in certain situations? No, I think he's amazingly. I think he's even mellowed out more as time has gone on. What I also think is that he's going to work. I think he's going to work hard. I think he's going to play hard. It's not the ideal version of Rodgers that you'd want. This is not what you want to hear if you're a fan base. But I still like this. Doesn't make me go, oh, they made a mistake. This makes me go, they signed up for Aaron Rodgers. This is what you get.
I bet you behind closed doors, he's fired up. He's got the ring on. He's married to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but nobody else knows that but them.
He's married to the game.
Yes, married to the game, married to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to give it his all.
Just a complete mental switch. He comes out.
Yes, and then in like out to the public world, the public eye, it's a total joke. But in the locker room, he's all systems go.
He is. If there were a player who were to do that, Aaron Rodgers certainly would be it. And like, I'll give him some credit. Here's something I have not seen Aaron Rodgers do with the Jets. They did with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's working out with DK Metcalf and talking about what a great guy he is. We got a reporter from Zach Rosenblatt, The Athletic, like the Rodgers-Garrett Wilson relationship was just always terrible. And then it really fell apart. Aaron Rodgers is clearly trying to do things differently in Pittsburgh. He's learned something from that time in New York.
But he was also trying to do things right in New York. You know what I mean? Remember all the reports of like Sauce Gardner, a great relationship, and mentoring Zach Wilson.
He went to Egypt in the middle of mandatory minicamp.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, but it seemed like he was at times. That's where it's different with Rodgers. He's going to do things his way. He's going to do things that people don't like. And now he's not winning MVPs. So it gets scrutinized more. And I think I think we've come to a point where we criticize him almost too much in the media. And we forget, that this guy, there's a reason he's been in the league for 20 years.
He also loves Mike Tomlin, though.
Yeah. And the Steelers are, by the way, a good point, Jack.
We're different than the Jets.
The Steelers are different from New York.
Yeah, this is not the Jets.
So this is a functional organization.
This is now like Green
Jets,
Bay.
Maybe the Jets are going to get there. But yeah, think about who Rodgers has played for. Green Bay, then the Jets, and now the Steelers.
Now he's pretty much back in a place like Green Bay, but just better.
Like this if there was a place where this could work, if there was a place where this could work, I actually thought Minnesota could too with what they have. These were probably the two best options, Minnesota and Pittsburgh. So, again, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they'll be relevant. Like they'll be in the picture. If they won 5 games, I'd be surprised. They'll probably do what the Steelers do: 9-8, maybe 10-7.
Win totals 8.5.
Blasted in the first round of the playoffs, and
not with Rodgers.
No,
We're not getting blasted with Rodgers.
Oh yeah, Rodgers is his epic playoff career.
He won't get blasted.
I'm rooting for you guys.